Welcome to the Iron Peaks, the snow belt of the Iron Peaks. This is another War of the Crystal Peaks campaign. This is a mini campaign with a total of about 4 standard games, so there's a little bit of room for side quests. And our patrons actually voted for a side quest, and that is that our War Chief Kartok, the Goat Man, should hunt down the enemy mage, the enemy shaman rather, that escaped in the previous game. Now, this is a map-based campaign with a lot of homebrew components, so stay tuned. The main rules that I'm using are Advanced Song of Blades and Heroes, but I also use the rules from the campaign book of A Song, Blades and Heroes, and any other rules that are compatible from that series. This is a big experiment, really. So the first thing I do is mark the location where the shaman is intercepted. This location is not a part of the friendly territories I begin the game with. I have my own way of placing terrain on the table, and it is inspired by some historical game mechanics. More details are found in the original game on my Patreon. In this case, the Joker also represents dangerous terrain, which is identified by a homebrew table. The region of Chromos, where the shaman is stopped, has now come to life. And the next step is to generate the scenario. I normally roll this, however, for this side quest, I ended up choosing it instead of rolling it. I always give myself the flexibility to choose a scenario that makes more sense for the narrative. Finally, the warbands are deployed based on the scenario and tweaked for the narrative. We are now ready to play this game. So the mage has summoned 3 ice elementals. Now these spirits function as grunts, and whenever they are knocked out of the game, they do not return. They're just knocked out because it took a ritual to bring them into being, and so whenever they're knocked out, they just function like regular grunts. The Ice Shaman has very cleverly charmed a giant worm, and the worm represents dangerous terrain. The worm will not move. It is not part of the Ice Shaman's warband, but it is charmed. It will never ever attack the Ice Shaman. I just measured the miniature, and I measured its length and then just rounded up. And so the this ice worm has a 4-inch radius that it will attack anything other than the ice elementals or the shaman, but any of my warband members that are 4 inches away from it in any direction, it will attack them. We will take terrain into consideration when it does these attacks, so mostly in the front, the rear, and this side here that is open, those attacks will definitely take place. And anything like if one of my figures is here, well, then we will take terrain into consideration when the ice worm attacks. If we get a knocked out result, the worm is out of the game. It ducks into its burrow. It's not dead, but it ducks into its burrow and does not come back. It breaks the charm. And if the worm is knocked prone, what that means is that it will duck into its burrow and remain in its burrow for 1 full turn, for the rest of the turn, whatever that is. That means that we have a window to catch that mage when the worm ducks down, okay? The mage will try and remain within the vicinity of the worm as much as possible throughout the game. Advanced Song of Blades and Heroes has a success and failure mechanic that can end your turn abruptly. Kartok and his warband won initiative, which he only rolled once, and quickly moves up the hill. Battle begins immediately as hoofed warriors clash with the summoned bodyguards of the shaman. This game's combat system works with opposed roles. Combatants compare modified rolls. If a modified roll triples the enemy's total, this is a gruesome kill, triggering morale checks. Ice elementals, being artificial beings, are not affected. This is going to be a tough fight. So the shaman is going to cast a spell with that reaction, and he has to roll 3 dice, and on 3 failures the spell backfires. And the first spell on his list is Hailstorm. So he's going to cast a Hailstorm. Let's see what happens. Alright, so he rolls 3 dice, and it looks like 1 failure. It means that the spell is a power 2 spell. For him. So power 2, so meaning that the attack of Hailstorm is -1 number of successes. So it's equal to the spell's power -1. All of these figures, except for the ice elementals, which are immune to Hailstorm, all of my figures will receive a combat 1 attack. And the first victim is the fawn with the white dice. He adds combat 2, and the black die adds combat 1. So let's see. Oh, black die is 7 for 7 to 6. Okay, well, he has a shield. He has the ability block. So let's see if he can block. He needs a roll of a 5 or 6. Rolls a 4, does not block. So that is an even result, which means that he is knocked prone. Kartik moves up the hill and fails 1 activation, so that gives the mage, the shaman, an opportunity to move backwards with another reaction. And now the fawn hunter is about to move, and he rolls 2 dice. I gave him. In solo games, my house rule is that 2 failures automatically causes a turnover. Measuring from the body of the worm, we see that it's almost in range. Well, not really. It's not in range of any of my figures. And anyway, these figures are blocking the way. So even if it was in range, it can't attack those figures. And now, nope, it cannot attack the prone fawn there with 1 move. So it's going to have its standard 2 moves, 2 actions, and look what it rolled, a double 6. Well, I'll be damned. Oh, this is not good because it moves right in contact with the prone fawn, and now it attacks the poor prone fawn. Attacking ice elemental is at +2 to its combat, and the attack is lethal. Okay, so +2, it has combat 3, and the poor fawn is combat 2, and it has -1 to its block because of being prone. So black die is that ice elemental, +5. We could see a gruesome kill. Oh, okay, 5 + 5 is 10. 5 + 2 is 7. Okay. But the fawn does have a shield. He can block even when prone. He's at -1. He needs a 5, meaning he needs a 6. He gets a 6! He blocks! That fawn is gonna be decorated. He blocks even when prone, and the battle continues. This proves to be a hard fight for the goatmen, as the magical beings hold higher ground. One brave hoofed warrior is knocked prone by a vicious swing from one of the elementals. Then suddenly an ice elemental goes prone as well, and the second elemental is knocked to the ground as a goatman wins the roll with an even number. And the elemental's knocked prone because I won with an even number. Alright, let's move on to the next one. Let's see if I can kill that elemental. He is prone. Okay, a 5 and a 5, so 5 plus 5 is 10. 5 plus 3 is 8. I win, and that's all I need when you hit a prone figure. It doesn't have block or anything, So this second elemental is out of the picture and out of the game. The giant ice worm eagerly looks for targets, but there are none. For the white die. Okay, 5, 6, 8, and 2, 4. That is double, and that is knocked out. And it doesn't matter because all you need is to beat the figure when it is prone, all right? So because we outnumbered him by 1, he had a -1 to his combat. Okay, so if we destroy that one ice elemental, which I am considering part of his little warband that he summoned, then the ice elf will have to make a morale check. So it is now the ice mage's turn, and let me just check something. Okay, I'm using the body of the creature and determining the area of attack, and it can attack all the way around, but it's not yet in range. Okay, well, let's see what happens. Okay, taking 2 dice for the ice mage, and it is quality 3. And we see I get 1 reaction, which is great. Okay, let's see what I do. Okay, Cortec is going to use this reaction. He is a 3+ quality. He rolls a 6, and yes, he does. And he moves into base-to-base contact with the Ice Mage. However, he is going to get an attack from the worm. All right. This attack is quality 4. So let's see. It is a 5, so yes, it is a successful attack. And now the worm adds combat 5, and War Chief has combat 4. Anything else I should know? No. Okay. All right. Okay, well, Cortec definitely does damage to that worm. Excellent. Is not entirely knocked out. It will duck into its burrow for this turn, and if for the rest of the turn it will not be around. So very, very good. And now the Ice Mage can take their action. The Ice Elf casts a lightning spell. This is an attack spell, and he uses 3 dice to determine the power. Okay, looks like power 2, and that's +1. All right. So it adds +3 to the attack. So this attack spell is +3. The figure does not use its combat score. This takes the place of the combat score. And Cortec's combat is 4. So +4 to the white dice, +3 to the black dice. Okay, 8 for the lightning spell. And 4 is 8, so nothing happens. Okay. All right, so Cortec takes, the spell does not kick off the way the wizard wanted to, and Cortec shakes off the effects. He is still engaging the mage. See? Okay, 2 actions. Very good. Very good. So he's gonna move, medium move, engage the mage with 1 action. We can actually move him a little bit further here. There we go. So we have a clear separation, and now with the other action, he's gonna attack. So the shaman's only combat 2, and now the axer is combat 4. He's usually combat 3, but there is a friendly figure there, so +1 for that, and the white dice gets +4. Okay, yay! So +2 for the mage. That is a 3. And the axer has a +4, giving it a 6. That is double the action necessary to knock the elf mage out, and the axer has taken out the mage, and now the game ends right then and there. This elemental disappears because the magic that was holding it in place is now destroyed. So there we go. There is the elf shaman on the ground, dead. Well, that ends this Battlefield Snapshot. Full games are on my Patreon if you want to help the Hoofed Warriors in their combat decisions, do consider checking out our Patreon, as patrons do influence the battle. All right, I will have many more updates on this intriguing little campaign. Have a great one, and thank you for viewing.